I keep wandering into people who are lost. I go around during my days and the people I see don't look lost. Maybe all it takes is just a nudge and they go off the tracks. I wonder if this is true for everyone, or whether it's more prominent in my culture, where we have so many advantages and luxuries, and this may be, surprisingly, one of the reasons why so many people are so lost. This time it was in a movie, one entitled Wild. A young woman gets lost in what she called the wilderness of her grief. Her mother died at the age of 45, and her mother was her anchor in the world. When she lost that, she lost everything, and became lost. She got lost in drugs, eventually heroin, and in a series of men with whom she shared drugs and sex, and probably because of her infidelity, she got lost in her marriage, and she lost herself. She was profoundly lost. Therapy, rehab, nothing helped. Somehow she decided that it would be good for her to walk the Pacific Crest Trail, from the border of Mexico up to Oregon, a harebrained scheme if there ever was one. Alone and ill-prepared, she set out, and she made it. And she found what she was looking for, what she so badly needed, which, in her words, was the woman her mother had raised her to be. She had to suffer to find this. She had to burn herself down to almost nothing in order to build herself back upright. And she needed some help in order to do it. Not much, but some. And it came in the form of what Tennessee Williams called the kindness of strangers. If I remember correctly, that phrase was uttered by someone who did not receive that blessing. And it is a blessing, a restorative, if you do receive it. The woman in this story did, several times. It came in the form of good advice, a warm supper, a kind word, a song sung by a child. All of it was helpful, even if some of it seemed to hurt at the time. Sometimes hurt helps too. Being alone for so long, the woman was very reflective and kept a journal. She decided that everything she had been through, the breakup of her marriage, all of the men, the drugs, shooting heroin, even the death of her mother, and her abusive, alcoholic father, all of it was part of what she was then, what she'd become, which was her rebirth, her salvation. So many stories are like this, where a broken person encounters people and events, and they are all a part of that broken person's redemption. And all of these stories remind me of an old one, The Pilgrim's Progress, by John Bunyan, an allegorical tale about surviving the snares and pitfalls of life. Another book written by someone serving time in prison. There should be a college course on books written by people in prison. I have said in one of these that I think everyone's life is a pilgrimage and an ongoing opportunity for redemption, because we are all surely in some way broken people, lost people. Perhaps being lost is not such a bad thing after all. Before that, a person could kid themselves, as we do, and believe that they have their bearings, that their life has a direction and a purpose, even as it spins out of control. Once you know you're lost, if you can overcome the panic and the fear, you can begin the long, slow, arduous process of being found, or of finding yourself, which is salvation of one kind or another, the Pilgrim's Progress. That progress is not easy, never without setbacks. Nothing is guaranteed, except maybe for one peculiar thing. Once you begin, you can't quit. You have to stick it out. You can't say, no, I'm through for now. I'm not a pilgrim anymore. We are always pilgrims, and there is never any time out for that, whether we know it or not, whether we want it or not. No matter how bad it gets, you can't quit. Maybe the real progress is in discovering that you are a pilgrim, which means exactly that we are all works in progress. We are all moving towards something we dearly want, and that is to finally realize ourselves, to accept that, to become the person we were always meant to be, as the acorn becomes the oak, and call that salvation. It goes without saying that many people never get there, because they were misguided or weak. They thought it was a destination or some achievement or amassing a great fortune. John Bunyan and Cheryl Strayer knew the world is full of false gods. The pilgrim has to walk through them in search of the truth.